Hello everyone, I'm Brin, designer, developer at Midnight Munches, a bit of everything. Today we're doing an art developer diary where I will be talking to you while drawing some of the art for the cards that are going to appear in the roguelike game mode of the game called Rifts and Discoveries. I have a huge list of questions here that Francesca prepared for me, so that we're going to have something to talk about. But first, let's quickly go over the process. Like, how do we do this? How do we even go about making the art for the cards, for the discoveries? So as you see, I have like some stuff here already done. Like I said, there's a lot of repetition going on because we're trying to establish a consistent language essentially in the for this, right? And what we do is we have this gigantic spreadsheet with all of the discoveries that the player is going to be able to find, and I'm just tackling them category by category, and again trying to repeat as many elements as possible because that gives you like some sort of like categorical view on things. Like it makes it easier for you to associate like an icon, for example, like you see this, okay, you're associating this with HP. Right? And we're kind of just raw dogging a lot of things here because that's just how a lot of our development goes. We're a small team. We're used to like iterating on things on the fly, and this is a part of it. So let's look at where we are, right? So like we are doing laser cards, which is one of the modules. The laser works in a way where you pick up sparks, energy sparks on the arena, and the more you pick them up, the stronger your laser is. So it's kind of like a charge up attack, right? Like over time, you will. Let me show you like this in a simple level. Windmill. We'll do windmill, our favorite testing level that you guys were able to test in the demo as well. And let's just set the player's power to be movement type classic. Let's do laser. Let me just show you guys really fast what the laser looks like. But yeah, so you have energy sparks in the arena that spawn over time, and when you pick them up, that is when... oh, that is not correct. Is it loading from save for some reason? Yes, it's loading for save. Okay. But yeah, so you pick up energy sparks and your laser powers up. So it's kind of like a late game type of attack. It's like you will be doing way less damage at the start of the game. You see I'm doing nothing now, and there's a spark that spawns, and I need to go and pick it up to activate my laser. I activate the laser, boom, right? And you see like when I'm going at least a certain speed, I am constantly attacking the enemy. And if I go pick up the second one, it's not so easy to play with classic and laser because you're not able to skip over enemy attacks. Oop, there we go. But yeah, I go for laser, I'm picking that up, right? And like my laser is becoming stronger. And it scales very well with your speed, right? So you can already see like my laser is bigger than it was before. I'm doing more damage, but it like really starts popping off once you're like around the level 5 laser, like once you get to like spark number 5. Something like this, boom, like we're blasting here, right? Like, so yeah, so this is an attack that's like very good against fights that have higher HP values. So if you're struggling with a fight that has higher HP, going for laser is definitely like a tactic that could be beneficial. This fight is just 1000 HP, so it's not that big of a deal here. But yeah, so that's laser. Let's look at now we understand laser, and now we can look at some of the cards that we already have. So for example, this one is for Spark++. Spark++ is a very basic card that you can like stack up a lot of times. Spark++, sparks spawn slightly faster, 10%, right? So like, for those of you that play the demo, you know that like we don't tell you guys the percentages. And if you're looking at this spreadsheet and peeping in, don't worry, these numbers will change. So it really doesn't matter if you see 10% here. There's highly likely that this is going to be 5% or 15%. So I got my eye on you. You're not cheating by getting the numbers from here. Yeah, so This, for example, is like a representation of a spark, and then we do arrows, like that spawns faster. This is a representation of a laser. This is the representation of the width of the laser, so maximum damage, right? And this one, for example, is Gambler. We have like spark, question mark going into spark. And what this means is picking up a spark has a chance of spawning a spark on the opposite side of the arena, right? So like it can combo into itself. Pick up a spark and you become invincible for a few seconds, right? This is the icon from Invincibler card, which increases your invincibility time when you get hit, right? So like we're trying to repeat elements so that things are as legible to people as possible, right? So let's see, what was the last one that I did? I'm just going like bottom to top. I did sparking blocks where you need to collect 50 sparks to restore HP. Then I did Spark of Blood, taking damage and not dying spawns a spark in the arena. Then we did, what is this one again? Filled with sparks. While at full HP, sparks spawn 30% faster. Okay. And then we did Sacrificial Sparks. Your laser starts at a level equal to your missing HP. Okay. And then what's next? Electro Boon. Sparks now also spawn on a tag zone on the other side of the arena. Your spark no longer increases the power after picking up the third spark. So we have a graphic here for attack zones already, right? Oh, this is funky. Why is this guy here? Where is this coming from? It's not... Yeah, it's coming from here. Okay. Why am I not able to delete this? Huh. Okay, bizarre. Yeah, so let's pick this and let's take it. This is a representation of what a attack zone looks like, right? And we will combine this with the spark. Right, so it's like we're following a very simple mantra in how we're designing these cards. Sparks now also spawn on a tag zone on the other side. Your laser no longer increases. Okay, yeah. So let's keep this theme that we have going on here with like arrows that are going into something. And we're gonna put it here, and we're just gonna go onto a new layer, just to make this a tiny bit easier for ourselves. And we're gonna outline. There's this like little tree that I like doing, which is like this. I do an outline on something. I select the outline, and then go onto the bottom layer and just hit delete. And now, if I make this invisible, boom, we have like a nice looking thing here already. Like we need to make it a bit more dynamic, a bit more like angular, boom. And yeah, there we go, like spark into attack zone, right? It's very, very simple, right? So like going through cards is super fast, and we're doing this kind of like, you guys know the game is coming out in like 3 weeks. And we're doing this now because this is something that is very easy for us to do at the very end of development, right? Because like we don't know which cards are going to be in and which cards are going to be and which cards are not going to be in until we test them, until we can see how hard it is to implement them, right? So so we do need to so it's like, it's very much is a thing, like art like this for us, like in our development process, comes at the end. And like I said, we're kind of developing things on the fly. Like we're very much like a fast team, and that allows us, let's pick up this one. So this is less dots, no, more dots, and this one is gonna be less dots. So yeah, so this allows us to just like go and do stuff like kind of like this, where it's like towards the end of development, okay, we know we can reliably say like this is something that is not that big of a deal for a big majority of the time that we're here. So now, like you can see, like a lot of times we're doing this like counterclockwise facing circle to indicate that like we're doing more, that we're spawning more sparks. So now we're going to reverse this, right? Like now we're going to go clockwise to try to indicate that we're spawning less sparks, and on top of this, we are going to dash this line to try to indicate that something is missing here, right? So poop, 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 poop. All right, so this, now let's get rid of a few of these guys because I want to put it closer, like this. And let's put it here. Oh, no, this, oh, yeah, okay. I love Sprite, but sometimes like, you do one wrong move. Sprite is the program I'm using to do the art, but you do sometimes one wrong move, and it feels like it hates you. Okay, so yeah, this is. So you guys, this is going fast, right? Like more dots, less dots. Onyxia raid wipe animation reference. I'm sure you guys know it. If not, let's look at it together. More dots. Right? YouTube approved edition. Okay. We understand. Like, you guys know this, I hope.
Odd groups go to left, even groups
like
go to right.
classic
That means
of
1,
internet culture.
3, 5, 7 left.
This game was
2,
highly
4,
inspired
6,
by
8 right.
raiding in
7
World of
and 8
Warcraft,
are
so
whelp groups.
it felt like
Okay, listen the fuck up. You are going to
this
DPS
is
very
we need a
slowly.
reference to this thing, right? You're going to, yes, DKP
And
minus.
slowly, I mean fucking
There we go,
slow.
there's the dots.
There is no aggro reset.
There is no aggro reset.
You only need, there's some shit about an aggro reset when people don't know how to manage their aggro.
Where is this?
After 2 thunders, you can basically start doing damage to it. Assuming you know how aggro works and you don't vanish.
Yes. And here the guy starts yelling more dots.
Anything that you can use to reset aggro.
I think. Yeah?
At 40% you will stop dots.
Yes, at 40% you will stop dots.
Throw more dots.
More dots. Okay, anyway, that's the reference. That's literally the way that this goes. And a lot of times, like when we are making modules, when we are designing modules, we're honestly thinking about like what would be a fun thing to name them. What would be something interesting, right? So more dots, less dots. You know, like it's there. There's definitely like a precedent for something here. And then like we get inspired by different references in how we can like modify the gameplay, but also we're obviously thinking about like making you play the game in different ways. For example, like Electro Boom, right? Sparks also spawn attack zones, but you cannot, you have a cap on a level that you're on, right? Like this goes very well with the classic movement ability, doesn't go so well with the dash ability. Allows you like to like camp a position a lot better, but you're capped now on the laser, and this also means like you are going to be fighting boss. Like this is good early game when bosses have low HP, but it's not gonna be that good late game when bosses have like a ton of HP. Anyway, we have more dots, we have less dots. Let's go flatline. Minimum damage of your laser is now increased by 30%. Maximum damage of your laser is decreased by 33%. So it just like equalizes things, right? We have a lot of this. We have a lot of this style of cards, like for a lot of attack modules that support essentially reducing your maximum DPS but increasing your minimum DPS. These are cards that like you will never pick if you're a good player, or not never, but like they will only be good in certain situations, right? But if you're going for a maximum score, if you're just going for speed running, if you're going for maximum score, for maximum DPS, you will not pick these cards because they cap out your DPS, right? But if you're learning, then it might be a good idea to go for something like this, right? Then this is a card that represents a way for you to like guarantee a higher level of minimum DPS. And I have no clue how to represent this. Let's do... What if we do like this? What if we do like a line out of this little guys? there was one that I liked here. But yeah, these are the sort of cards that like you will like if you are these are cards that you will like if you are no, I dislike this. These are cards that you will play if you are trying to just progress through the rifts. If this is your first time trying to beat the rifts, if you're not that good at reacting yet, and when you're learning things, right? So let's do something like this. Like, no, I think I can do, let's say this, and I do horizontal swap. And yeah, and like we want to have cards like this where we help you out essentially. Like we say, these are training wheels. Do you want to put them on? And of course you have the choice to say no, right? Like we never force you to pick a card. I mean, you have to take a card, but there's always a choice. So you can always go for a different card if you dislike the training wheels. You know, like that's a part of the roguelike mode. You need to adapt to what's being thrown towards you as well. There we go. This is good. It's like flatting out. What's next? So we have flatline. So you see, guys, like this goes incredibly fast. The speed at which we make this, especially once we establish something. Like yesterday, I was working a little bit on this. It took me like a little bit of time, maybe half an hour, to establish what sparks are going to look like and what energy, like what lasers are going to look like. Primarily, it was the lasers that I wasn't sure how to represent, and I still don't like this thing really. But yeah, let's look at the next one. Early bird, you start the game with 1 extra laser level. And while I draw this one, maybe I can like look at this beautiful piece of paper of different questions that I have from Francesca, and talk about them. Were there any constraints you were trying to respect when making the art, technical or otherwise? We want the game to be very minimal in its art style, right? And this is represented, first of all, like this pixel art. Second of all, there's only 4 colors that ever appear in a color palette. Well, 6 technically, but it's like in really there's 4 colors. So we have to think about art that looks good in monochromatic, almost monochromatic settings, right? So like you can see I'm doing all of the art in white here. And this is due to a technical constraint because all of our art in the background is black or white. And then depending on like how black or how white it is, like where it is on the grayscale spectrum, we assign it a different color inside of the game engine through a shader. So I need to think about this, right? And I need to think like, okay, this has to look good only against one color, like, and that's why I like using patterns like this, right? Because it creates the illusion of a third color sometimes. So yeah, let's go early bird. Start the game with 1 extra laser level. Do we have anything that like shows improved rest? Is a card that this is for improved rest. This includes this creates oh yes, words are hard. This is a card that increases your damage after you restore HP outside of combat for the first 5 seconds. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna use these circles that I have here in the background, right, as a way of indicating like I want to, essentially I would like to use the same pattern again, right? Like I would like to use these circles for something that is supposed to mean, oh, there are cards that affect you from the start of the game, right? So I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna take the circle, and then I'm gonna put this thing over it, and then I'm gonna cut into it, right? So again, like we're trying to establish patterns here, because like while obviously like we want our art to look pretty, right? I think like a very important aspect of this, considering we are talking about a roguelike game mode and you're picking tactics here, right? Like we want you to understand what is the tactic that you're buying into, essentially, right? Like what is the thing that you're going for. And if we can establish this through the art already, and that's like golden for us. Okay, so let's clean this up. We need to like clean up the background parts here. And boom, we have early bird. It's that easy, guys. that easy. And I will delete a few things extra here. Like just, you know, like sometimes the robots don't do the best job and you need to clean up something a bit yourself. And then we can merge this down and clean this up a tiny bit again here. There we go. Perfect. Let's look at another question that we have on the menu. Have you ever considered any other style or themes for the game? Not really, because realistically, this is something that like we started doing. Like this is the art style that we learned works for us over the past like 4 years when we were making small games together. Because One Btn Bosses was just a little prototype that we were doing at some point. How do we indicate low speed? We don't have an indicator for low speed. One Btn Bosses was just like a small prototype that we did among like a ton of other prototypes and like little games that we made while we were students in Copenhagen. And during that time, I was always forced to be the artist on the team, and I am the artist on the team, as you can see. And I'm not a good illustrator, right? Like I'm not good at traditional illustrative art. I come from a graphic design background, but I love pixel art. So I started experimenting with this like more minimalist approach to pixel art that you see here, right? Like where we're using like basic shapes and then doing a lot of stuff like this, where we're rotating them around to give them a bit of an organic feeling. So no, we didn't consider a different art style. We considered being even more minimal at the start. We considered being super minimal, like to the point where like we did not want our characters to have eyes or attributes. There was no ace at some point in One Btn Bosses, but we felt like there is like a need for us to add some sort of character to the thing as we were working on the project. And so we started like it was also like against my will, because I think doing icons like this is fun, but doing characters is something that like I feared that like I would not be able to do well. So we tried avoiding that because we don't think it's our strongest suit. But then we tried pushing through. Like I stepped a bit out of my comfort zone, right? And we tried pushing through. Oh, this is weird. Let's do this. I'm not the biggest fan of what's going on here right now, but let's see what we can do. I'm just like making some graph looking thing, and then I will make this more transparent, I think, because this is like supposed to be some levels that you haven't reached yet. I need to keep like a high level of transparency, or like a low level of transparency, I guess, depending on how you want to look at it. And then I want to say that the laser is active here regardless. And I have like a small laser icon somewhere, I think. No, I don't. No, this one is smaller. Okay, I'll take this one. So yeah, we didn't really consider a different art style ever. We like the difference that we considered in the art style was going more minimal than what we're doing right now. Jonas keeps joking that he wants to do. Jonas is our one of our programmers. Jonas keeps joking he wants to do 3D One Btn Bosses, and I keep telling him that that's only once we get to the third installment of the game. You know, like that's gonna be the 3D Btn Bosses. So we have to do 2 Btn Bosses first before doing 3D Btn Bosses. How did you come up with the idea for multiple palettes? Will there ever be a function that allows players to make their own? Yes, we would love that to be an option, but we need to see if that's gonna be possible first. So yeah, like maybe in the future. There's a lot of things we want to let the players do because our tools are rather simple for making stuff like this. But the issue is that they are not user-friendly. They are made for the three of us, and the three of us are in constant contact, and if something goes wrong, it's not an issue, right? So yes, maybe in the future, hopefully in the future. Let's do the last one, all or nothing. Your laser only fires at high speeds, but your damage is increased by 33%, right? So now we've established like what a laser firing at a low speed looks like with this card. So now we can take this and we can invert it somehow, right? Like now, I'm gonna put it here. I'm gonna delete this. And I'm gonna dash the stuff below it, right? Because like dashing, we're indicating dashing, we're using dashing to indicate something that's missing, right? And I will go make this one's not transparent anymore now because they're not, because we're using transparency to indicate something that could be, right? So it's like, it's kind of about establishing some sort of a visual language that we're following. Let's do dash, dash, dash. Maybe we delete this one. Nobody's gonna know. I mean, I'm sure somebody's gonna complain about it. Dash, 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 dash. Until we delete all of these ones. Dash, 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 dash. Boop. Okay. And we can do dashes on the bottom here as well. And what I will do is I will just say like this, and I will use a nice function that exists in Sprite that makes a brush. Boom. And this is way faster now, right? And this is like very right heavy now, so I'm gonna move it a little bit to the left. A lot of times, like in graphic design and in art, things are about like perceived and visual balance, right? Because like even though there's like more space on the right hand side now, this feels like it's in the middle, even though it's not in the middle. It's more to the left side than it is to the right side now. Okay, so that makes all of the laser levels. So now I'm gonna answer one more question that I saw here that I think could be interesting and is art related as a way of ending the stream. So let me quickly read the question. Are you gonna add a BRAT palette? We can add a BRAT palette now, live, right? So I will show you guys how palette making works in One Btn Bosses. I will quickly like duplicate a palette we already have. I'm duplicating the bisexual palette here because all of the bisexuals listen to Charli XCX, and I will call it palette BRAT. And then we have a manager for palettes. Where is it? Palette manager. Yes. And I will add a BRAT palette to it here. BRAT. And now I'm going to enter the game. I'm going to enter the same level that I showed you guys before. And I'm going to find a nice frame that I like. Like I'm gonna just look for a situation in this level that has quite a few things going on. Maybe this is like too much of a static situation. I want there to be a lot of things on the screen. There's like one attack that comes in a few seconds, I think, that is going to look rather nice here. There we go. Boom, and I'm pausing here. And here in the palette manager, I will say, well, this is weird. BRAT palette. I will say, use the BRAT palette. The current palette should be the BRAT palette. And I will move one frame forwards. And you can see it changed to the bisexual palette because that's the one that we copied from. But we have a separate file here called the BRAT palette. And we can do whatever we want with the BRAT palette. And I'm going to search for BRAT Charli XAX. And I'm going to go to images. And I'm going to open Color Slurp, which is a tool that allows me to grab colors from my screen. And I will say, make the background color be this color, right? And now, when I move one frame forward in the game, boom, we're almost there, guys. That's almost it. And the second color that's like on the BRAT album is clearly the black, right? So let's grab this black. It's not full black, it's like not 000, it's like tinting a little bit towards violet, I guess. Okay, that's unnoticeable, but sure, why not? That's unnoticeable to my untrained eye. And we're gonna put it for the outline color, because that's a color that stands out very well. And if we go next, boom, this is BRAT, if you ask me, right? So now we have two more colors that are super important here. There's the player color, and there's the enemy color. And I have ideas for what we can do with this. Because here on the BRAT album, there's this like little other hue of green, right? And I want to grab this other hue of green. And I'm gonna try this for the player color. I think it's gonna be too dark. Let's see, player, hexadecimal. Let's try this one. I think it's gonna be too similar. Yes, so what I'm gonna do is I want it to be a tiny bit brighter. It's gonna keep with the theme, but it's just gonna, you can see like that these colors are very similar, right? So, and that the laser, for example, is now not very visible. So I just want to like find a green that's like, it doesn't need to be super visible, right? But I want to, there we go. This is visible, that's nice. And now for the enemy is usually some sort of reddish hue. And Charli XCX made a song for the Barbie movie. Barbie album, Charli XCX. And I think this uses pink. There we go. So why don't we grab the pink from the Barbie album cover, since we're doing this from the album cover, and put it here for the enemy color, and boom, and we have BRAT, right? And now there's two more colors, as you can see. There's the UI color, and there's the extra color. And I want the UI color to be something dark, because here we need to create more of a separation, because the X's use the player color as well. So I'm just gonna start with copying the outline color. We do that sometimes, where the outline color and the UI color is the same, and it works fine here, I think. And then with this one, I can go for something fun, maybe something like reddish. This is for the stars in the background. I don't like how this looks. What about something like this? This is nice, yes. Okay, and that's it. And we have the BRAT color palette added to One Btn Bosses. It's here, guys. You asked for it, and we made it. There we go. So that's a great way to end the stream, I think. Playing in a BRAT / Barbie themed color palette. Let's stream, Dev Diary, whatever. I feel like I'm a streamer. I feel like you guys are chat. I'm talking to you. But yeah, One Btn Bosses coming out on August the 6th, very, very soon. So yeah, feel free to wishlist the game. It's gonna be out soon. It's gonna be released very, very quickly. And yeah, you can play with the BRAT color palette and with all of the art that we did on the stream here soon. I need to figure out a way to put a bus into this cards, because we have like a big bus fan in our Discord. But that's maybe for the next set of cards that I'm doing, I suppose. But yeah, see you guys soon. Bye bye.